Hello everyone, it's Fu here, back with another video of why you should use, and this time it's going to be Morpeko. Okay, so this one I'm really excited about because I think it's a very cool Pokemon. It's got an amazing signature typing and everything, but we have to be realistic, it's not the best Pokemon out there. So this video is all about the best ways to use Morpeko so that it can actually do something. I do think it has viability, I just think you have to be really careful with how you use it. So that's what this video is going to be about. Over on John's channel, we're looking at something a little bit more viable.
And that'll be Toxtricity, a very powerful and very cool unique electric type with a unique typing. Really love that guy, I think you guys will as well. But let's talk about Morpeko first, and I really think this is a very cute and very unique Pokemon. Now, I personally love it, and its face, it looks exactly like Invader Zurg from Toy Story, which I can't get out of my head. I love it so much. I don't know if they did that on purpose. I don't know why they did that, but it is something we're seeing. It is a thing that actually exists. And looking at that flavor text, I love seeing intense hunger drives it to extremes of violence. And all of that really transitions us into looking at its stats, abilities, and all of that good stuff. And its stats are actually kind of interesting, as we have 95 attack and 97 speed. The rest of its stats are kind of bad, but it's nice to see both of those almost at, 100. Very usable. This Pokemon is a lot more offensive than I would have expected, and that electric dark typing is fantastic. It's the first time we've ever seen it. It's incredible on the offensive side. Almost nothing is going to resist the combination of electric and dark, which is really cool. And the Hunger Switch ability is also unique to this Pokemon. Now, Hunger Switch means that the Pokemon changes its form, alternating between full belly mode and hangry mode after the end of each turn, and there really isn't much of a difference there. Obviously, how it looks will change, but the one big change comes when we look at its attacking moves, and Sam, I'll let you talk about that.
So the main effect that Hunger Switch has is it changes the type of Morpeko's signature move, Aura Wheel. Aura Wheel starts as an electric type, and that's when it's in full belly mode, and it's a base 110 physical attack. That's insane power. It's got like no drawbacks at all. It's just 110 power, full accuracy, no recoil or anything like that. So that's a really powerful attack. And though its attack stat is only base 95, with such a powerful Aura Wheel attack to go for, then that's actually pretty good. When you transform into your other form due to Hunger Switch at the end of the turn, Aura Wheel becomes Dark type. So this one move can simultaneously be Electric type one turn and then Dark type the next turn, which is a really interesting mechanic that we haven't seen before. You'll probably see a lot of Aura Wheel sets just because it is a very high base power move, but other moves that it does get are things like Crunch, which is another Dark type move, or Wild Charge is an Electric type move that it can use, and then it gets a surprising amount of coverage. So it gets all the Fang moves. Ice Fang is especially nice because electric and ice coverage is fantastic. It gets things like Brick Break to hit steel types, or Psychic Fangs to hit fighting types that might threaten it, and it gets Stomping Tantrum as well to hit other electric types. So loads of coverage. Kind of blows my mind a little bit that it gets so much. It gets Fake Out as a nice support move there, and then Super Fang and Foul Play if you don't want to have to rely on its attack stat that is only mediocre, although with Aura Wheel it does still hit hard. And the last attack here is Rapid Spin that can boost its speed as well as removing hazards, which is pretty nice. In terms of setup, it gets Agility, which is pretty good because that base speed stat, if it's boosted by an agility, you'll outspeed pretty much everything. And it gets Nasty Plot, which we won't see too much of because its special attack stat is quite lackluster. In terms of utility, Thunder Wave is great for paralyzing and getting some speed control. Taunt is nice to shut down some opponents, especially with a base 97 speed, it's relatively fast. And Parting Shot is great for some momentum there because you can drop the opponent's attack and special attack, get out of there, keep your momentum, the Pokemon coming in can then set up or do whatever it wants. And then we put some other utility moves there that you might not see as many times. Thunder Wave, Taunt, and Parting Shot are really great moves, so I'm very glad that it gets that.
The first set we're going to be looking at is a choice set, and this is going to allow you to really maximize either the attack stat or the speed stat. Obviously the two stats that really stand out, and you can just click Aura Wheel over and over again and try to bash your opponents into oblivion. You have to have Hunger Switch, of course, max attack, max speed, and a Jolly Nature. That's assuming you're going to run Choice Band. You could also do Jolly with Choice Scarf just to allow this thing to outspeed as many things as possible, or if you're just going to accept that the speed stat is not as amazing as it could be, you could go Adamant, whenever it's Choice Band or Choice Scarf. It's really up to you with the Jolly or Adamant. Aura Wheel, of course, is going to be the star part of this set is that is such a powerful move, a really, really cool one. The one thing to watch out for is it's going to start electric. The second turn, it will be dark. It'll go back, forth. So just keep that in mind. And for that reason, we also have Crunch and Wild Charge if you just want to be able to hit them with a dark type move over and over again, or an electric type move over and over again, as a dark electric really has nearly perfect coverage. And if you want to make that pretty much perfect, throw on Ice Fang, as that's going to allow you to hit every single Pokemon that we can think of, at least neutrally. Also, you could put Brick Break on there, which will allow you to hit almost everything neutrally as well. It's a solid coverage move, and if you do want to Dynamax with this Pokemon, you probably shouldn't, but if you want to, then you could get attack boosts, which would be pretty solid.
The next set is one that John suggested, which I think is a stroke of genius, and this set actually emphasizes Aura Wheel even more than the previous set. So we're going for a physically offensive set here, max attack, max speed with a Jolly Nature to have as much speed as possible, and we're maining that Aura Wheel move. So we talked about how great electric dark type coverage is, and you basically hit everything. There's only a handful of Pokemon that you don't hit, which we used Ice Fang to hit in the previous set. We're actually just going to disregard them in this set because you don't see them too often. So we're just going to rely on Aura Wheel. Obviously, Aura Wheel changes type at the end of each turn, and that means that on the turn you want to use it, it might not be the right type for you, and that's where Protect comes in. So you can just click Protect that turn, and then the following turn Aura Wheel will be the type that you need it to be, and you can go for that incredibly powerful attack. The Life Orb is going to boost that damage even further, and basically we wanted to show that Aura Wheel is probably the only attack that you might need on a certain set. So that's really cool for this Pokemon. And then we've put just a utility move here, Thunder Wave or Taunt. You can taunt walls to stop them from recovering and trying to stall you out with Life Orb recoil, for example, or just Thunder Wave to try to cripple something that will come in to take your attacks. That can be very useful too. The last attack here, again, just showing off another cool thing about Morpeko, is Parting Shot. So this set is all about just keeping the momentum in your favor, having the coverage that you need on the turn that you need it, having the utility that you need to cripple the opponent, and then Parting Shot out of there if the going isn't good, if you just want to keep the momentum on your side. A really interesting set, and I think it's one of the best ways to show off Aura Wheel.
Now that we've already given you guys 2 Aura Wheel sets, it's time to move on to the other things Morpeko can do, which really isn't a ton, but this can be a very frustrating Pokemon, and this set is really going to show off how annoying it can truly be for your opponents. Leftovers is going to be really solid here, as that's going to pair well with Substitute. Max HP, max speed, this Pokemon's obviously not going to be taking too many hits, but you might as well invest in HP to make sure it can take as many as possible. Timid Nature to outspeed as many things as possible, and when we look at the moves, Substitute is very important, as you are going to be able to sub on some things, you know, maybe force a switch, or if you just Thunder Wave something, they get paralyzed, then you can sub, and that's when the fun really begins, as you'll be able to Thunder Wave, Swagger, get that confusion paralysis going back and forth, and as you are swaggering them up, raising their attack, you can go for Foul Play. It's Stab on Morpeko. You're going to be doing way too much damage to the opponent, which is going to be so nice. Obviously, this set is very frustrating. It can be viewed as kind of cheap. I know in the past that, you know, Smogon has banned, you know, Swagger, so that might be a place where you won't be able to use it, but it is something you might be seeing, you know, on Wi-Fi, on the ladder. So just be ready for it, and hey, if they're not going to use it, why not you?
The last set we're talking about today, again, probably isn't the most viable way of using Morpeko. I think Aura Wheel is the best way to actually use this thing and go for some damage, but this Assault Vest set is kind of interesting because it can be your hazard removal. It's got some really interesting utility attacking moves, so you can pair them up with the Assault Vest. So this has got max HP and max special defense with the Assault Vest. Really, you need all that investment for this thing to be able to take many attacks. But on the special side, it's not the worst typing, because you can switch in on the psychic types and be immune to their psychic type attacks, and also electric types you resist any electric attacks too, and they're all generally special attackers, so that's pretty good. We've got the Calm Nature here because we're not really looking for physical damage output, so this boosts your special defense and reduces your physical damage. And Fake Out's here, so if you pair this up with maybe a Toxic Spikes team and something else poisons other Pokemon, going for Fake Out means you'll get another round of poison on that Pokemon, which can be helpful for damage output on this set. You've got rapid spin there to remove the hazards from your side of the field, get a speed boost, which means that you'll hopefully outspeed the next turn to do other things. Super Fang is your main way of doing damage to the opponent, and getting a Super Fang off on anything is very good. If you can Super Fang a wall, that's fantastic, because you probably wouldn't be doing that much damage even if you're on offensive set. So it's a really useful utility move to have here. And then Volt Switch is the one we went for to keep momentum on this set, because obviously you can't use Parting Shot when you've got an Assault Vest. So this thing, even with the Assault Vest, it's not the most bulky thing, but this can work just if you need something. If Morpeko's typing basically fits your team build perfectly and you're still looking for some hazard removal, you could use something like this. Probably best not to, but you can give it a go. And to finish off, we're just going to talk about doubles quickly. It does have some great moves for doubles. Fake Out we've already talked about quite a bit, but this is a great move because it incapacitates one of your opponents for a whole turn, allowing your ally to do whatever mischief you want it to do. Thunder Wave and Electro Web are really nice speed control there, as well as Scary Face, and you can drop other stats on the opponent as well, like Snarl dropping their special attack output, and also Fake Tears dropping their special defense, so your ally can do some really neat special damage there, and also Tickle dropping their attack and defense, so loads of ways to reduce your opponent's stats and really frustrate them. Taunt is another frustrating move to go against, which stops them from going for Protect and stuff like that. And then you've got Super Fang and Foul Play if you don't want to rely on Morpeko's attack, that they still do good damage output, and Swagger is here as well, which you sometimes see in doubles. Not necessarily the most reliable strategy, but it can work if your back's to the wall. The best ability is the only ability, which is Hunger Switch. Some partner ideas are Wall Breakers, because they really appreciate Morpeko's ability to reduce the opponent's defenses in things like Tickle and Fake Tears, and also it getting chipped with Super Fang means that your Wall Breakers will then be able to punch through the thing that's walling them. We've got slow Pokemon here because it has great speed control in Thunder Wave and Electro Web, and then setup Pokemon appreciate the Fake Out free turn that it might give them, as well as reducing the opponent's damage output with things like Snarl and Tickle. So some really interesting ideas here. It could be a good support Pokemon in this format. I think that having a Hunger Switch ability probably doesn't do it the best here. Something like Lightning Rod would work better, but it's still got potential. That's going to be all for Morpeko today. I do think that some of the offensive sets with Aura Wheel have some viability, and I really want to test them out because it looks like a very cool move. I don't think people will be expecting the damage output it's capable of. But if you do want to see some serious damage output, go over to John's channel now to check out Toxtricity, because that Pokemon is very powerful and you need to know all about it. If you enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like and consider subscribing. The playlist is in the description. All that's left to be said is I've been for you, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.